With us now is Frank Brown, Dean of INSEAD. You've just brought out a book, The Global Business Leader. It's all about transcultural business leaders. Now, can you tell us first briefly, what is a transcultural leader?
Well, in my mind, and I talk a lot about in the book, a transcultural leader is one who actually understands the difference from place to place in terms of how you operate, how you negotiate, what are the things that people worry about one place to the other, what are their politics, what's the local economy. It really has to be somebody with what I call a worldly perspective. And I think the most important attribute for a true transcultural leader is it's really someone who's willing to check their ego at the door a little bit and listen first. Because in my experience, people are different in different places, and unless you are really familiar with a place, it's best to follow a little bit until you get familiar. And I think successful people tend to be able to do that.
Because here in INSEAD, with the MBA program, we tend to mix up people from different backgrounds. So you can have an Israeli with somebody from somewhere within the Middle East. So is that a conscious decision while trying to mix people up?
Absolutely, but I think the other thing I would say is here at INSEAD, we can create conflict, and we have the opportunity to make mistakes. People that are in the program, you can mix people from very traditionally combative cultures, and they may not get along for a few weeks or even a few months, but they gradually work it out. And I think the beauty of it is when they actually reach more of a real life situation with those similar kinds of issues, they're much, much better able to deal with it because of their experience with other cultures here.
But by and large, boards are generally homogenous, aren't they? I mean, people from the same sort of background.
Well, I think that's true in a lot of cases. It's certainly true in a lot of major companies, and we've actually done a little work on that, as you know, and I've spoken on that before. I think that there are some good cases where boards are very multinational. They do work out the logistical issues, and they benefit tremendously from it. And I use IBM as a sort of a shining example in that respect. I think management teams in a lot of organizations, I don't care where they're headquartered, I think a lot of management teams tend to be very male-dominated, tend to be around the same age band, and tend to come from the same place. And I think you can look at organizations like that and see the difference between the ones that are innovating, the ones that are developing people and developing the next generation of leaders, and the ones that tend to be pretty much the same are actually just holding their own, and in a lot of cases just holding on.
And you would say that by and large it's good to have diversity, whether it's by gender, age, whatever.
Yeah, there's some interesting research now that a faculty member from INSEAD and a faculty member from Harvard are working on about creativity and innovation. And they ask people to write down as many names as you can in 30 seconds of the people you would call or the people you would connect with if you had a real problem, a real business problem. And they find that there's a high correlation between innovative people and their lists. Innovative people tend to be ones that would call people that are 20 years older or 20 years younger, of a different gender, of a different industry, of a different country or culture, you name it. It goes on. Very, very high correlation. The research is underway, but I think there's really something to that people that have a much wider network tend to think differently and tend to solve problems differently.
And this is all key as globalization accelerates.
Absolutely. You can apply it to brands and what makes them work across cultures. You can apply it to how you develop people. You can apply it to the environment, corporate social responsibility. How does this transition from place to place?
Frank Brown, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you.